Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. We are in the book of Numbers right now, and we are spending 2 days talking about the boundaries of Canaan. And this is, 2 parts. Boundaries part 1, boundaries part 2 is today. And I'm going to read, yesterday I read all of chapter 34. Today I'm just going to read the first 16 verses. Actually, the first 18 verses. And the last verses there, it just tells the leaders of each tribe, and they were responsible for dividing up the land. So we're going to skip that section because I read it yesterday already. But I want to talk about the boundaries there. And so this is the first 15 verses actually of that. The Lord said to Moses, "Command the Israelites and say to them, when you enter Canaan, the land that will be allotted to you as an inheritance is to have these boundaries." And the boundaries that you start off with the south side and kind of work around. And we talked about that yesterday, how you didn't have, aerial maps and so forth. And so you had physical descriptions. These are the boundaries of that. And remember, we talked about yesterday too, that the people of Israel never did occupy everything that they were given. Okay, they were given all this land, but they were told to occupy it and get rid of the stuff and the people in there that shouldn't be in there anymore. But they didn't. Verse 3, your southern side will include some of the desert of Zin along the border of Edom. Your southern boundary will start in the east from the southern end of the Dead Sea. Cross south of the Scorpion Pass, continue on to Zin, and go south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it will go to Hazar Adar and over to Asmon, where it will turn, join the Wadi of Egypt and the end of the Mediterranean Sea. Your western boundary will be the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. This will be your boundary on the west. Okay, that's an easy boundary. You just have the Mediterranean Sea. For the northern boundary, run a line from the Mediterranean Sea to Mount Hor, and from Mount Hor to Lebo Hamath. Then the boundary will go to Zedad, continue to Zephon, and the end of the Hazar Enan. This will be your boundary on the north. For your eastern boundary, run a line from Hazar Enan to the Shepham. The boundary will go down from Shepham to Rebelah on the east side of Enan and continue along the slopes east of the Sea of Galilee. Then the boundary will go down along the Jordan and end at the Dead Sea. This will be your land with its boundaries on every side. Moses commanded the Israelites, assign this land by lot as an inheritance. The Lord has ordered that it be given to the 9.5 tribes, because the families of the tribes of Reuben and Gad and the half-tribes of Manasseh have received their inheritance. These 2.5 tribes have received their inheritance east of the Jordan across from Jericho, toward the sunrise. We'll stop there because the rest of the chapter just gives the names of the guys that were supposed to help divide up the land. Okay? What I wanted to show from this today is this. God has placed borders in our lives. And the reality is, how do we know the borders? You're asking yourself. If God has given us borders in our lives for us to live effectively for Him, how do we know what the borders are? And the answer to that is the Bible. It lays out all the borders for us. Okay. So let me give you an example. If I want to live a pure life, and I want to be faithful in my marriage and not have sex outside of marriage and so forth, well, God has given those boundaries, and He didn't do it to be mean, but He did it to protect us. Okay. And to have a better life here, and a life with living by His law, by that. And so if I choose to live outside those boundaries, and the boundaries are spelled out here, it's like one of the 10 commandments, don't commit adultery. So I'm going to be faithful to my wife, and I'm not going to be, sleeping with other women and having other girlfriends and so forth. I'm going to be faithful to my wife. And that's a boundary that God has set up. in our marriage and in our walk with Him. Okay, but if you don't read the Bible and don't study it, you're not going to know what the boundaries are. You're going to be wandering around like, oh yeah, I wonder, should I be sleeping with my girlfriend? And that's what a lot of people do today. They're like, they're not reading the Bible, not familiar with the Bible, so they just do kind of whatever they want to do. And they're not really wanting to serve the Lord, but they might want to serve the Lord. And then they're just like, you know what? I think the Lord is calling me to, sleep with my girlfriend for a while, and then maybe we'll get married, and so forth. That's not God's intention at all. And because we're not reading the Bible and understanding it, we just make up our own boundaries. Okay. Imagine the people of Israel. They get to Canaan here, and they go, gee, I wonder, what's this kind of out here is the promised land, and they just make up their own boundaries to wherever they want to go. Well, they go into areas that are enemy territory, and they weren't supposed to be in the first place, and then they're defeated there. Okay, or they go and they say, oh yeah, we just want this whole town. Well, God intended them not to have this whole town, but to have this whole country. Okay, so all those things we need to be in the Bible, reading the Bible, studying the Bible, to understand what those boundaries are in our lives, and then to be familiar with them, and then to live by those boundaries in our lives. Okay? Boundaries in our lives, it's as simple as that. And God has given it to us, and we need to know what they are. Thank you for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue our journey through the book of Numbers. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.